What's up, guys? Welcome back to the next episode of Sports Talk with Hawk. We've got the next snapshot incoming for you. So we've done the Patriots and we've done the Jaguars, and today we are going to do the Las Vegas Raiders. There was a little bit of controversy with this one. I do believe the coach that they ended up hiring is better than the coach that they had. I believe that is pretty clear. But I didn't think that Tom Telesco and Antonio Pierce deserved to be fired whatsoever. I really didn't. This team played hard all year long. Honestly, and truthfully, with the fact that Patrick Graham has been retained as the defensive coordinator, obviously the staff wasn't that bad. They didn't have a quarterback. And if you guys have listened to this podcast, you understand and you know I hate judging coaches when they don't have a quarterback. It's that simple. I don't want to judge you unless you have a quarterback. And if you don't have a quarterback, why in the world would I judge you? Like, legitimately, why would I judge you? Quarterback is single-handedly the most important position on the field, and yet I am going to judge you when you don't have one. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So honestly, the position is still up in the air. It's still a position that Pete Carroll, now the new head coach, he's an adult. He brings a legitimacy to the room. He definitely does that. He's definitely got a little bit of intrigue to him. He's a player's coach, and I believe he will work very well with Las Vegas. And now, the key is going to be what you see on the screen here. $85 million in cap space. Who wants to go play for Pete Carroll? That's the question you've got to be able to answer right now. And we should see this play out pretty early. $85 million. It's a big amount. Obviously, we had the Patriots that have over $110 million. We had the Jags yesterday with $28 million, if I remember correctly. $85 million. They've got 8 picks in the draft currently before anything else comes into play. They've got 27 free agents, 17 of which are unrestricted free agents. And let's look at some of the names here. So it's not. I think it actually is going to matter more than you really realize. And here's why. So you've got Cody Whitehair, guard, all-pro guard, free agent. Andrus Peat, guard, free agent. You're going to have to replace both of them. That's not good. Harrison Bryant, the tight end. We got Brock Bowers. We're not too worried about it. Robert Spillane, the linebacker, to me is the really big one. That's the one I think he really has come into play as the middle linebacker, the leader of the defense. I believe he can really grasp what needs to be done on defense. I hope they re-sign him. They should. Safety Marcus Epps is also a free agent. Trayvon Moehring is also a free agent. And then Divine Diablo, another linebacker, is also a free agent. So they do have some free agents that they definitely have to worry about. Nate Hobbs is a free agent. DJ Turner, the receiver, is a free agent. Desmond Ridder, no big deal. He's a restricted free agent, so no big deal on that. But honestly, when it comes down to it, this team has the ability to fight next year. I mean, they almost beat the Chiefs this year. This team plays tough. They beat the Ravens. This is why I don't understand the firing of Antonio Pierce. I don't understand the firing of Tom Telesco whatsoever. Not in the slightest. But this is the NFL. This is how this has been, and unfortunately, this is the Raiders' MO. So here's the question. Where are they coming from? Well, last year, when you go back and you look at everything over the season, last year they were 27th in total offense at 303 yards a game. They were 13th in passing between Ritter, Aiden O'Connell, and Gardner Minshew at 223 yards a game, but they were dead last in rushing offense. That will change under Pete Carroll. Two of the running backs are free agents, Madison, Amir Abdullah. Zamir White, I don't believe, has much of a future in this team unless it's a third string back. Maybe he can get by with a second. This team is going to draft a running back in this draft that is ready to play. Pete Carroll loves his young running backs. He's probably going to draft two, honestly. Still waiting to see what comes in. Still waiting to see how everything plays out. But they have the number 6 pick in the draft. They can really help the defense. They got Max Crosby. They got Christian Wilkins. They could easily be able to get Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan. My out-of-the-box idea is not going to be trading away the number 6 pick. I think for the Raiders, this pick can be very useful, and you don't want to get rid of something that is that valuable. I'm not trading away Max Crosby either. If you hired Pete Carroll, you have his Michael Bennett. I believe Spillane is the Bobby Wagner. You need a Richard Sherman, and you need a Cam Chancellor. That's what he's going to do. That's the defense he's going to try to build. You can re-sign Epps. Epps is fine. Epps is solid. But now you need to get your corner. You need to get a guy that can really play that corner position. And at number 6 in the draft, Will Johnson, to me, is 100% worth that pick. So total offense, they averaged 18 points per game on offense. Dead last at 80 yards rushing. 13th at 223. And then 27th in total offense at 303 yards. Now, defensively, this is why I didn't mind it. Defensively, they were 15th. Total defense averaged 333 yards a game. That's only 30 yards more than they had. So it's not like they were getting bulldozed. They were 15th against the pass at 216 yards a game. They were 13th against the run at 117 yards a game. The defense wasn't a problem. The offense was. They don't have a quarterback. And then not having a running game, which really hurt because Zamir White took a big step back. Madison could never get going. Evidently, that's why Minnesota let him go. Like, it was just a mess offensively. Well, you've got a defensive coach again. Unless the offense gets taken care of, the offense didn't work last year. The defense was fine. You brought in a defensive coach to fix a defense that was legitimately middle of the league. 15th. It's not bad. Points per game, that was a little high. They allowed 26 points per game. So yardage they didn't give up. But listen, this is what happens though. Turnover differential, -16. They got 10 interceptions on defense and 3 fumble recoveries. But they gave away 16 interceptions and 13 fumbles. So they were -16 in the turnover differential. You clean up the turnovers, you don't get the short field, which can run up the points pretty dang quickly. I like the Raiders. I do. I like the Raiders. Mark Davis, I think, is really starting to come into the fact that he doesn't want to own the Raiders. He's selling off bits and pieces, little bit by little bit by little bit, here and there, and truly making a group out of who owns the Las Vegas Raiders. It's what he's doing. No big deal. I asked this question, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I asked the question, has anybody actually ever asked Mark Davis, do you want to own the Raiders? I know you do, but do you want to? He keeps selling off more and more. I can't blame him. If he doesn't want to do this, you make a lot of money. And maybe he will fully sell the rest of the Las Vegas Raiders. If this doesn't work out, and Tom Brady being there, who's already screwed up the hiring process, if it doesn't revive Las Vegas, if it doesn't revive the silver and black, I could see him moving on, selling the rest of the team, making the money, and doing whatever else he wants to do the rest of his life. And I couldn't blame him one bit. Could not blame him one bit. So when you look at 2025, the future of what's there, $85 million you got to feel really good about. 8 picks already in the draft, you got to feel great about. 27 free agents, you can get a little nervous, but you're going to have spots you can fill in free agency. You hold the number 6 pick in the draft. You should be able to get either Mason Graham, the defensive tackle, which I think would also be good. Not their number 1 need, but a need nonetheless, put next to Mason Crosby. Or Max Crosby. I think that would work as well. Mason Graham next to Max Crosby would absolutely be great, but I think Will Johnson out at corner would be the better pick for them. So what's the out-of-the-box idea for the Raiders? This one was a little bit harder. Because their need for a quarterback is so glaring, this one was a little bit harder. But I got thinking, what does Pete Carroll want? What does Pete Carroll want? He loves running backs. This is a deep running back class. Very, very deep running back class. I started wondering what we would do, or what they would do to address different positions on the team. So this was my thought. I think this trade needs to go to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, this is not me from the Colts side. This is from the Raiders side. I think you could trade your 2nd round pick and a 5th round pick. Get the Colts' 3rd round pick. Get Nick Cross. And I would say get Alec Pierce. You need a receiver to stretch the field. Jacoby Myers is not a field stretch guy. He can't take the defense. He can't take the top off of the defense. I would go to the Colts, try to get Nick Cross, safety. I think he would work. He's smaller, but I think he would work. The nickel safety, I think, is where he's better at. And I think he could fit in with Pete Carroll's type of defense. Alec Pierce would bring in another receiver, a legitimate receiver, to be able to take the top off of the defense to let Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers work. You then have to tackle the quarterback. Yes, I could have gone out of the box idea for the quarterback as well. But if I want to keep the 6th pick, that's only going to happen if I don't go after a quarterback. Because there is an option here. There really is. There really is an option. If you go and you trade for Brock Purdy. Yeah. If you go and trade for Brock Purdy. I don't think he's a great quarterback. That's not what you're trading for. That's not what you're trading for at all. In fact, I would say if you're going to trade for a quarterback, it would still be in the NFC West. You go after either Kyler Murray, Geno Smith, or Brock Purdy. You after one of those 3. If you're going after a quarterback. But you're giving up your 1st round pick probably. You may be swapping first with the team that you trade to. But you're probably giving up your 1st round pick. I would keep your 6th pick. I would trade your 2nd, trade a 5th, go get Alec Pierce, Nick Cross, and the Colts' 4th round pick in this draft. Use the draft capital you have. Get a legitimate receiver to be able to take the top off of the defense. He runs the most go routes in the NFL over the last 2 years. He's got the most catch per yards. Like, this kid is great, and just unfortunately, he's stuck in a team that has no quarterback that can actually layer the throws or underthrows them or overthrows them and very rarely actually gets the ball where it needs to be. Alec Pierce runs routes very well, and I think he would fit out here with Las Vegas. Jacoby Myers takes the possession routes. Brock Bowers is just the big tight end in the middle, and Pierce can take the top off the defense. I think it would work. If I'm the Raiders, that's what I'm doing. I get a nickel safety that I need for the defense because I'm playing Travis Kelce. I'm playing Sean Payton and that offense. I'm playing Jim Harbaugh's offense. I need a nickel safety to be able to cover the run and play where I need him to play. That's what I would do. That's my idea. The Raiders do have to make a move. They're going to have to make a splash. They will need to make 2 trades. They will need to make 2 trades in this offseason to get them to where they need to be. If they do that, I would say they're pretty well set. As simple as it gets. I like this team. My way too early prediction is I'm going to say 7-10. I don't like that I'm saying 7-10, but I just think the division is so hard. Without a quarterback right now, like I said, this is way too early prediction, but without a quarterback, I think Carroll could get 2 more wins out of the team that's there with Aiden O'Connell. I fully believe that could happen. So, with that being said, let's see what happens. I like where the team's at. If you're a Raider fan, you got to be a little bit excited. The only fans that are actually worried about Pete Carroll are the ones that don't understand football. This was a very good hire for the team in general. It's an adult. It's a guy that needs to be there, so that's perfectly fine. But if that's going to be who your head coach is going to be, if that's what your pick is, you need the adult. You need somebody that can actually do something, and it makes a lot of sense. It makes a ton of sense. So you got to be excited if you're a Raider fan because I think you got a little bit of hope. And it's one of the few coaches that could actually stack up in that division. That division is stacked. Reed, Peyton, Harbaugh, and now Pete Carroll. Oh my gosh. What a division. What a division. All right, guys. That is it. I love these Snapshot podcasts. They're so much easier to do. I enjoy doing them. It's simple, clean, straightforward, making all the graphics, doing all the work. I love it. We do have a goodbye screen this time, so I am not going to just randomly end the podcast without anything to say goodbye with or a little timeout session before the end of the podcast. So we're going to head to that. Tomorrow, I believe we're going to do the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns will be tomorrow's Snapshot. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like the podcast. I appreciate each one of you that have been listening. Hope you guys enjoy it. Like I said, I love doing these. The information I want to know as a fan, simple, straightforward, and a little bit of analysis on top of it. That's all I'm hoping to do, and that's what I hope you get out of it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Have a great rest of your evening. For Sports Talk with Hawk, I'm Hawk, and I'm out.